fellow citizens of the internet. My name is Moses. You are watching this on the Moses Kabandana podcast. Today I have with me a brother from another mother, Gael Uwera, and I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself a little bit.
Awesome. Thanks, Moses. Well, as you said, my name is Gael Uwera, and we've known each other forever. It seems like we go way back, man. We go way back. So, thanks for inviting me to your podcast. I'm glad to be one of your first guests. So, please let me know, and yeah, take it away.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. So, like you said, man, like we've known each other for a good minute.
Yeah.
Like a good minute. Is it over 15 years? No, 15.
I would say.
Well, we've been in the state.
So we've been in the state for over for 11 exactly. So maybe 13, 14. So yeah, about 15 years. Yeah.
Getting close. Getting close to 15. Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
that is crazy. So in the previous episode, I told the story of how my brother had come to the refugee camp, and he got taken in by a family. I just never told him that it was your family that we kind of like became became one family. Walk me through the experience of like before you knew us, like me and my younger sister. How was the experience of bringing my older family into your family?
Okay, so we knew you guys, from pictures that your brother Elias, he had with him when he came to the camp. But beyond that, we kind of knew about a boy named Moses, a girl named Gabby, and what your interests were, some background of how you guys grew up by your parents, but we didn't know much about you guys. And I'm sure the pictures he had were a little older, so they weren't exactly up to date.
Right.
But
that's
yeah, exactly. But I was looking forward to finally meet you guys. So when you guys came to visit, wow. Again, I was excited, just again to meet to meet kids my age and stuff. So yeah, that was
that was cool.
Yeah.
So okay, that's okay. You mentioned the pictures. That's pretty interesting because over the years, I've lost all the pictures, and my brother's lost a lot of the pictures. So the importance of having like pictures of your upbringing, it's like it's so important, and like that is like one of the few things that I kind of like regret. It was like not keeping up with those pictures. Now, granted, I was like too young to like
care much,
understand the importance of that. But so I wish I definitely had those pictures. Now I do. One of the first memories that I remember, this is like ingrained in my mind. Right, is like how we clicked.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I just do remember like it felt as though I had known you like for a long minute. It's like it just showed up, and we just started talking. We got to know each other. I don't even think like we went through like a normal introduction of like, hey, my name is Moses. What's your name? What do you like to do? I don't think we like did any of that.
No, not really. Because again, when you came, I already knew your name. So like, oh, Moses, hey, how's it going? So and then we just kind of went about our day. I had to run some errands, so you came along. We got to meet some of my buddies back in the camp. That was it. Again, it's almost like it was almost like you just came back home from a vacation or a trip. So just kind of just resumed where we stopped. It was very It was a unique kind of bonding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, brother from another mother. Exactly. It's like the fluidity of that relationship, and then like how we commenced and how we continued. Like just definitely no friction, like none of that.
Yep.
So I want to skip over a lot of
Mm.
things and kind of try to hone in on coming to America, right?
Yeah.
Because I have my own personal
Yeah.
experience of, the transition from
Yeah.
Mozambique
Mm.
to the United States.
Mm.
Um, but I want to like focus on you and
Mm.
like your experience of like what what it felt like
Yeah.
to come to the states. What was your journey like?
Right.
And like what were some of the challenges
Mm.
that you faced when you first moved here.
Right.
So I guess let's start with like the first impression
First
of the
impressions.
U.S.
Okay.
First impressions of the U.S. You land on the
Yeah.
plane and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Or like, okay, so like take it away from there.
Awesome. First of all, let me go one step back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before we came here to the U.S. But
Yeah.
you guys came first. Remember, you guys came first, and then maybe a week or two,
Yeah.
and then we came. Imagine how much, right? How much pain and missing I felt when my best buddy from every day,
Oh,
man, just
yo,
was
I never
gone.
thought of it that way.
Exactly. So went from having each other
Shoot.
all day, every day, just hanging out, going to school together,
Yeah.
doing everything, literally everything together. We even
Yeah.
shared a bed. No homo.
Facts.
But yeah. So
Yeah.
imagine going from that to he's gone. I knew we were gonna eventually, come over, but man,
Yeah.
that week, man, it was long, man. It was lonely again because it was
Man.
a new reality.
Yeah.
So again, to answer your question, so when we came, I was like, man, I can't wait to see my buddy, man. I can't wait to see,
Yes,
can't
sir.
wait to see you, Gabby and LG or
LG.
Elias. So yeah, it was again.
Yeah.
I was very excited to be here, but overall, my impressions, of the U.S. when we came through New York and then to Chicago and then Michigan.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, when we got to New York, I'm like, come on, everyone knows New York. At least for me, like we know from movies, like the Empire State Building, all that. So it was all kind of things that I already knew from movies and books and stuff. So actually getting
Yeah.
to see it, so I almost felt like I was getting a tour of things that
Mm.
I see in movies and TV shows, now in real life. So
Yeah.
there wasn't anything new per se in terms of looking
Hmm.
at the experience, but I guess it wasn't new until I finally got to Michigan, because then now we're
Mm.
in an apartment, which was very nice. Was very it had couches, had everything, you know.
Yes, sir.
So I was very thankful for that because I know
Yeah.
a lot of refugees that when they come to the U.S. sometimes they might have a house to go to, but it's not furnished at all. There's no couches and nothing, so
Right.
it's
Right.
just bare
Right.
minimum. So when we
Yeah.
arrived, everything was there, and you guys were there to
Mm.
you guys had cooked food that day. So when
Welcome you
yeah,
in.
because we were exhausted. Man, it's a long journey. It's like
How long of a flight was this? Like I know I was part of it,
yeah.
but I just don't even remember how long ago. I know it was long. I just I can't
Here
remember it.
we had to cross again. What 3 continents? Africa, Europe, and then to the
Right.
US. So kind of just like almost like a
Yeah.
triangle, just gonna. So, um,
Exactly.
so we were exhausted, man. We were exhausted because we never got
I think
any time to rest in between. Really.
yeah. When we left Mozambique,
Mm.
I know we stopped in South Africa
Yep.
for a minute,
Exactly.
and then we stopped somewhere else, another country in
Yeah.
Europe. I want to say it was Portugal, but I have no idea.
I think
Like
it was
I
France.
don't even remember.
I think it was France.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was France. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was. And where did you guys? Did you guys stop in New York when you guys got onto?
I think we stopped in Chicago,
Oh,
and then
okay.
yeah, I think we went. Well, yeah, so we went Mozambique, South Africa, somewhere in
Europe.
Europe, Chicago, and then GR.
Okay.
If
Okay.
not Chicago, Detroit, and GR. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I guess ours was a little longer then, because again we had to stop in New York overnight and get up early.
Overnight,
Get
okay.
up early at 5 a.m. hop onto the school bus. So it was us with a bunch of other refugees from Myanmar, other countries. Just
Oh wait,
hop on.
for real?
Yeah, man.
On the school
Yeah,
bus?
and
What? Yeah.
then everybody got like a little like suck lunch, with an
Yeah.
apple and then an egg McMuffin. Yeah, I'm not kidding, man.
Wait, I know that's funny. Like we never really went through that.
Exactly. We just kind of we just got here and hey, what's up? Hey, all right, let's move on with our
Right.
lives. We never kind of talked about it. The whole journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, what about on the language side? So like, I know
Yeah.
that you spoke English, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your level of fluency was up there. For me, I did not,
Right.
speak
Mm-hmm.
any English. Really. I mean, I knew how to read some. I still hold a grudge. Somebody that stole my English book back in Mozambique.
Oh,
That I was trying to
yeah.
I was trying to learn some English, but so my experience was slightly different
Right.
from yours as far as like the language barrier and whatnot. So for you, how was the English adjustment like for you? Like, was it easy to understand? Like, was it like a something that you had to overcome?
It wasn't a big challenge, but of course, accents, even Michigan,
Right.
even in Michigan, they have their little accents. So getting used to getting this little subtleties in again, even just the pace of speech, right? It was a little faster. So sometimes again, I had to again get used to how they speak. So it wasn't much of a language barrier. It was more like getting used to how the accent, in Michigan, in the pace, at which they talk. But other than that, no, so thank God. So that was one thing I didn't have to overcome. But I guess
Yeah.
I had to get used again to the culture, of course. The culture. There's a lot of things we're used to that here it was different. For example,
Right.
the classic is just being able to just pull up at someone's house and just hang out. Here it was different.
Facts.
People don't walk as much. At least in Michigan, everyone drives. So public transport isn't a thing. It's barely literally a bus. At least here in GR, a bus runs by every 30 minutes or more. So it's not very fluid, right? You can't take a bus to get here and back, right? You need to plan a whole day if you're gonna use the public transit system. But so those little like annoyances,
Annoyances.
in the beginning.
That's pretty cool because like for me there was I still gotta get checked because I think like my memory is so horrible, but I don't remember. It's gonna sound so weird, but like I don't even remember. Like I know that I didn't speak English coming in, but I don't remember learning it. I just like it's like I came here without speaking it, and then I was speaking it because I think when we got here, I think we had like 2 weeks or so before we got put into the school system, and by the end of that trimester, I think our school used trimesters. By the end of the trimester, I was taking tests and and like normal like everybody else. So like I don't remember like I remember taking some ESL languages, but I just remember like not speaking English, and then all of a sudden I'm yapping at yapping at
Exactly.
but because of the geographical area that I was in, I like never like learned to like take public transportation and whatnot because one, we didn't like the public transit doesn't really go that far now, so I never had to like interact with the public in a public transit from that perspective. So I feel like if I were in that position and like learning the language, it would have been like a little bit more difficult, like to try and take a public transport without speaking the language and whatnot. Which I guess I commend my older brother for.
I was about to say that. He didn't know a word.
Yeah.
But he knew the whole city, man. He knew the whole city.
Exactly.
On day one.
It's like I remember I just remember him like coming to visit after like a weekend of him being out there, and he had the whole roadmap
Exactly.
of Grand
Yep.
Rapids somehow, and I'm like, you don't speak English, and like you don't know how to navigate the city, but somehow you got here, and within like a
Mm-hmm.
week, like he knew he had like favorite spots, like and everything like that. It's like wow. Um, so as far as like you were transitioning
Mm-hmm.
into talking about the differences in like the cultures
Right.
and whatnot, they had to adjust to. Um, is there something that was like a big cultural shock?
A big cultural
Um,
shock.
yeah, like something that kind of like took you back. Because like so for
Hmm.
me, one of the
I
things
have
that
one.
that yeah, okay,
This
okay,
might
go
sound
go
bad,
ahead,
but
go ahead.
church, man. Church in Africa in general
Really?
is at least three
Uh huh.
hours.
Facts.
I remember the
Yeah.
first Sunday we went to church. I was like, wait, we're done?
Uh huh.
Wait, what? It was an hour tops. And that's it. I was like, wait, are we,
Yeah.
is it, a break or nope? We're done. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Man, so that was a huge, huge difference. I think big, like
Mm-hmm.
more than any difference, that I had to experience here, the duration
Oh,
of church service was the biggest for me. I gotta say that was the biggest for me.
yeah. Yeah. I would agree. I would definitely agree because I think in Mozambique, and I probably can say this from I can't say like all
I
of
can say
Africa, but
all of Africa
like
confidently that that's how it is. At least 3 hours.
the churches are
Yep.
long. Like the meet and greet
Yeah. Huh.
is a church service in
Exactly.
itself. And then you have the actual church service, and you gotta do something afterwards, right? You gotta
Yep.
eat. You gotta it's a
It's a
whole it's
yeah.
a
It's a
whole
whole day
day
thing.
thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's not like, hey, you show up and you smile a little bit, the music starts playing, you sit, you got some worship action, and then the message has got to be like the message is about 35 minutes tops, and then some more final like
Mm,
songs, and then that's it, and you go home.
yeah.
But like not back
No.
home. It's
Yeah. It's
different.
all. It's
It's
you
it's
gotta you
different.
gotta commit a whole day to it. Otherwise, don't show up because once you're in, you first of all you can just sneak out. Gonna be looking at you like, what is he doing? What is he doing?
Yeah,
So once you go,
yeah, and if you manage to sneak out, somebody's gonna run into you like throughout the week. Like, hey, I saw you sneak out. You never
yeah,
came
like couple
back.
little things, man. Church, why do you sneak out
Uh,
of that? Yeah.
right, right. Uh, I would say that
Mm-hmm.
for me, my biggest
Mm-hmm.
shocker was when some friends would say, "Hey, I'm spending the
Mm-hmm.
night or the weekend at my
Yeah.
mom's." For some reason that just that stayed
Mm-hmm.
like ingrained in my head, like, and I always
Mm-hmm.
like ask, like, what do you mean at your
Mm-hmm.
mom's? So I quickly started learning that like most, if not all, of my like closest friends, like in the
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood, or it's in my grade school, had
Divorced. Yeah.
their mom's
Mm-hmm.
place and their
Mm-hmm.
dad's place. But I never like put one and
Right.
two together. Of, like, the divorce rate is like so high. I just never like associated mom's place and dad's place, with divorce.
Exactly.
But it was the first time where the concept of like
Mm-hmm.
a kid having two parents still, but like more of like they're living in different
Mm-hmm.
spaces. Like you spend 1 week at mom's, you
Right.
spend another week at
Mm-hmm.
dad's. That that was a shocker for me for some reason.
Actually,
Like I don't,
yeah, that is true. Yeah. I think before we came here, I've never seen anybody who's divorced. Sure, I knew of the concept, but again, it was only a concept. It wasn't a
right,
reality.
yeah,
I've never heard of anybody
yeah,
who's divorced. So you're
yeah,
right. You're right. You're right. I kind of forgot about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, like, out of everything, even if I know like food was like a huge
Yeah.
thing for me. Like I remember trying to eat like um, not cabbages. What are them?
Broccoli.
Broccolis. Right, and I remember like looking at this broccolis. I was like, "Yo, there's like genetically modified trees. Yo, like what's going on with these?" And I wouldn't, I
Yeah.
wouldn't eat them. But as much as food had an influence of like on my cultural shock, yeah, the whole mom and dad's place, that one really
Yeah,
really stuck
that
with
was
me.
a big
That I
one.
was like,
Yikes.
whoa, what is this? Um, so, what did you think about on the entertainment side of the culture? Um, like, so I was used to, like, growing up, I played outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
So staying inside was the equivalent of being grounded,
Exactly.
right? Like that's how I would
Right.
imagine like being
Mm-hmm.
grounded would be like in
Right.
Mozambique. It would be like staying
Mm-hmm.
inside. So entertainment wise, it's just you you have the
Your whole
whole
terrain
outside to
to explore.
facts to
Yeah.
explore and entertain, and of course
Right.
movies
Mm-hmm.
and music. But as far as music goes, you got the radio and some bootleg CDs.
On the street.
So exactly. How did you find the entertainment? Like how did you like try to entertain yourself? Like once you
Yeah,
get
you're
home.
right. I think that was another huge adjustment. The change from again free play, what we used to these
Hmm. Right.
organized events, right? There is if you want to play soccer, you're either at school, you're in a team, or you're part of a club, out there. Sure, I'm not saying you can be any pickup soccer or whatever, but most of the time it
Yeah.
has to be like organized in a club. Sign up, get involved,
Mm-hmm.
probably pay some kind of a fee, right? So that kind
Yeah.
of it kind of ruined being spontaneous, right? You can just go, hey, let's go out there
Yeah.
and play. It takes a lot more time to get everybody
Hmm.
together, to find a time
Yeah.
and go out and play. So it kind of ruins
Right.
ruins the fun. You kind of spend more time planning,
Yep.
an event than actually doing the event.
Yep.
So yeah, that was kind of annoying,
Right.
right? Like yeah, so you're right, and most people do indoor stuff. Like come on, man. So to me, yeah, that was
Yep.
another thing that I
Yep.
wasn't happy about. Um,
Yeah. Totally get it. Cause like you can't like roll up to your buddy's house all of a
hmm
sudden and be like, "Yo, you got some free time? Like, let's kick the ball. Let's do
yeah,
this and that." You gotta text your parents. Their parents gotta be in agreement with your parents, and then like you you have this whole like schedule. And then if everything aligns, okay, you got like an hour at so and
yeah,
so's, or you got an hour to do X, Y, and Z. My camera is acting up. Oh, it's getting hot. It says. uh, but it's like this. You put it so well. Like it's too
hmm
structured, and it kind of removes the
spontaneity.
spontaneity, um, and the and by doing so also kind of like takes the human element out of the equation
Yep,
a
yeah,
little bit, right? Yeah. So I think I was talking with a friend last weekend. She's from
mm
Mozambique, but she's in Italy, and we kind of touched on this topic of like what do you most miss about Mozambique, and she was like, it's like I want to be able to like run out of salt at my crib, and like instead of like running to
yeah,
Myers or like some big store, I just go knock on my neighbor's house and be like, hey. There's salt. Pass it up, like, and you're gonna get some,
exactly.
right? You don't have to, like
hmm
go all the way to the store to get some of the basic
Yep,
necessities if you just like run out of it. To where here, you can literally live 5 years in a
yep.
place and not know your neighbors. Like you might know them because like you're in close proximity, so like
Look
you know
like
what they
yep,
look like, but
yeah,
nothing really deeper
yeah.
than that.
No real relationship with them, right? Yeah, like exactly you said. You can't go and
Yeah.
ask for salt because you don't know them like that, right? You just know them as your neighbor. They go about their business. You might run into your each other in the store. You might even go to the same church, you know.
Yep.
But
Yep.
in general, yeah, you're right. It's different, right? Everyone minds their own business.
Yeah, there's something good about that,
hmm
but there's also like I think I would prefer the the alternative.
Yeah.
Which is, hey, I know you, you know me, come and knock on my door anytime. Like let's watch each other's back. Now I do like my privacy a lot, so like if you're the type of neighbor that's gonna be all in my crib all the time, or like you know exactly when I cook, right? So like you conveniently show up when it's lunchtime. Hey, come on now, and we used to have some of that back in Mozambique.
I know, yeah.
It's like you had that neighbor that was overly neighborly at a specific time of the day all week. You're like,
man.
Come on, man.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think, yeah, it's kind of again a balance of. It's almost like a trade-off. Do you want your privacy, or do you want to be, invaded, or people to be overbearing, in a sense.
Right.
But if you look at if you think about it long term, right? I think the option of being overbearing is better than the option of just having a private life. At least to the extent that it is here.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of people get lonely.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And yeah. So.
And that can like easily drift into all kinds of unhealthy psychological, sociological issues that you probably spend like hours just yapping about. So to kind of bring this to a close a little bit. So if someone is if someone is about to come to the States, or not necessarily the States, but like the Western world,
the West.
if you would,
right?
Or if you had an input in like creating a system that would facilitate people's transition into the state, like what would you say are some of the important things that would help someone transition into like the American culture, like the best way, like from your perspective?
Of course, yeah, of course. I mean, the obvious, of course, is language, because they will need that to be able to function, anywhere they go.
Yeah.
The second one, at least if you're coming from a country and you're coming from the third world, and let's say you're coming from a village, so you're not used to things, not used to things like taxes, or you're not using to paying utilities, per month, a credit card, all those things are a little more advanced. I think courses on that kind of stuff are needed. Because again, if you don't know what it is, you're probably gonna get in trouble because of it, right?
Exactly.
By just not because you're careless, just because you just don't know about it, right? You know about it the hard way, and that's not good, right? So things just make people understand how things work. And make an example, right? You'll hear about people who are on the sex offenders list, not because they did anything crazy, but because they didn't know you cannot pee outside.
Right.
They could where they're from. Yeah. So why? Yeah. So how would they think? Oh yeah, now that I'm abroad, I can't do this. No, they didn't know that.
Right.
But those norms that are obvious to us here in the U.S., they're not obvious to some people, depending on where they're coming from, right? So programs to kind of teach those kind of things are needed, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So because if they wait until they get here, it's too much. That's think about it. Think about if you had to take a course every day for 10 years straight, nonstop.
Right.
It's the same thing, because you kind of just dropped into the country.
Right.
You don't know the language, you don't know the culture, you don't know the norms. So you're trying to learn every day, all day, trying to learn what's this, what's that,
right?
What's normal, what's not normal, right?
Yeah.
But if they do it before they come, right? If they give them ample tools to get a taste of what it is, just enough to function, and enough to be able to come off the plane and not be scared to death, right?
Yeah.
I think.
That is one of the important things that you mentioned is these little civil infractions that you can run into without actually knowing, because even people that were born and raised here still commit some of those civil infractions.
Right.
Like peeing on the side of the road and like stuff like that. So yeah, if you knew about some of those things before coming in, that would have saved a lot of people, and kept a decent dosage of bushes from being irrigated on. If I can put it that way.
Exactly.
Wow. Yes, I never even thought about that. Like having to, because like growing in Mozambique, like if I'm out taking a stroll and I got to pee, hey, I'm looking at a bush or a wall.
There you go.
Right? And whichever is closest is going to be lucky.
Exactly.
And that goes for both men and women.
Yep.
Like I had, I seen women pee in public in Mozambique, and it was just that.
Yeah.
There's no.
Right.
Yeah, I never even like considered that. But so yeah, having systems in place that would walk
facilitate, because to assimilate is hard. Yeah, going from a country in sub-Saharan Africa to the U.S., it's a huge change, right? In all kinds of ways, language, just it could be cultural, technological, also it's way too much. So
also like my laptop, right, told me, hey, your battery is running low, and I was just too dumb to like. Like I totally forgot. Like I got so ingrained in the conversation. So now I think I'll pick up the rest of the audio from the camera. The side camera, because my laptop is dead. So, but yeah, I think that would have been a good place to stop. Either way, I feel like there's so much to talk about like in on this topic.
For sure.
But for the sake of the length of the podcast, I've got to like kind of cut it short. Now, is your iPad still recording the audio?
Yeah, we could do a follow up. No worries,
Oh yeah,
cool. Could do like a part 2 or something.
No, this is good. This is good. I can like take the audio that you have, match it up with this one, and try.
The idea is good because again, I was recording from my PC, so it just kept recording.
Oh, cool.
So it's all good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, for sure we're gonna have follow-ups. Like it would not be fair to just have like one episode with you. Like no, there's like no way. No way.
Yeah, for sure.
There's like multiple topics we can like continue like yap about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna move this out the way because it's not in the recording anymore. But yeah, so I just want to do a quick plug for Anchor, which is the platform that I upload and actually hosts the podcast, and they're pretty much responsible for like distributing the podcast throughout all the big platforms. It's free and it's like super easy to use. So you can actually like this conversation that we're having. I could be recording it on Anchor, and once we're done, it just goes live like right there and then, like without any.
Oh really?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and you can add like.
I should look into it.
For it, I recommend everybody to start a podcast now, even though this is like my second episode. But yeah, no, it's one of those things that like I'm trying to create a platform where just conversations can be had, right?
Right.
Because I feel like we're slipping slowly into this is gonna be like a topic for a different day, but I was sliding into a society where we are very hungry for information, like complex, in detail conversations and information, but we're only given like snippets of information, and like long form conversations are not really being had anywhere. So being able to have like good conversations with friends, families like this is like it's dope for one, and
I agree.
And
it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's informative. So like, thank you so much, man, for like hopping on this call with me. And
thanks for having me.
Oh, for real. If I ever have like a bigger, well, not a big, I was gonna say like a bigger studio. This is not even a studio yet. Like, yeah, if we can be like in person at some point, that's the dream.
Yep.
It's just like having people that I can like sit across with and just like yap.
I agree. Yeah.
It's 2021, so this is gonna have to.
Hey.
It's gonna have to.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Slowly, but eventually you'll get there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey,
yeah.
Thank you so much, man, for being part of the podcast, and I cannot wait to have you on a future one.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. That's the end of the episode, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.